Good afternoon. Welcome to this week's episode of Gaming News at Noon with Salty and Boom. I am one of your hosts, MrBooMStickXL, and of course, with me, as always, Salty from the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. Welcome, dude.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to be here.
Well, listen, this is going to be a show from start to finish that's complete fire. It's going to start out a little salty, no pun intended, but we have to immediately jump into the topics and talk about the Metro dev says the next game is going to skip PC if these ridiculous boycotts continue. And this is not the kind of press the company needs right now before the launch of Metro Exodus, which comes out on February 15th. Now, recently, Metro Exodus developer 4A Games, which is a smaller developer, by the way, revealed that its latest installment in the horror and first-person shooter franchise would be exclusively available via the Epic Store. Now, from what we hear, this is a 1-year exclusive deal, and I think it's important to talk about. Many, including Steam users, thought that this move was unfair, especially how last minute this decision was. Now, just to give an update to this story, anyone that already pre-ordered Metro Exodus on Steam prior to this announcement, that is being honored by the company. Okay, this is not something that they're going to give your money back. If you pre-ordered it prior to the game being exclusive on the Epic Store, they're going to be the good guy here and honor that pre-order. And I think that is pretty cool. But you know what? Listen, the one thing I love working with Salty is he's a numbers guy. And he understands what it takes to run a family. So do I. He's a parent. I'm married. He's married. And, you know, one of the things that annoyed me about this story, and Salty and I were talking pre-game, and again, if I ruffle your feathers, I don't apologize because I'm going to be speaking real-life facts right now. There is a certain entitlement that goes on within this industry. I don't know if they're the millennials. I don't know what generation they're actually from. These people that I'm referring to are the 30-something-year-olds who, when they don't get their way, they have temper tantrums in the form of review bombing the first 2 Metro games on Steam because they couldn't get their way. These are also the same folks that still live at home, that don't pay their own car insurance. And you know something? We have to talk analytics here. Salty, when you sign up as a small or big company and you go to Steam, you're paying 30% in order to get your game on that platform. And we know that at the Epic Store, they're offering a 12% take on your game being on their thing. So that's 18%. First of all, if you're a big company, that's millions and millions of dollars. But let's move the big company out of the way. Let's talk to small companies. In your opinion, hearing this whole story and seeing that it's an 18% difference on the monies that they're going to be able to take back for making this game, spending 18-hour days behind a computer making this game, what are your takes on this?
Well, I just want to comment on this entitlement issue. First of all, it's just like it's deep down inside a lot of gamers, and unfortunately, it gives us a bad name when you see stuff like this, because it is like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum. You know, they don't get their candy that they want, so they start, you know, flailing their arms around and crying and all this other stuff. You know, it's unfortunate to see, and this review bombing shit is probably one of the cringiest things that I see on the internet, and it triggers me a lot because I know how much hard work and dedication goes into these games. Honestly, people are sacrificing time with their families or whatever, putting everything on the line to make these games, and then, you know, these people feel like, hey, it's my responsibility to review bomb this game because I'm not getting it on the platform of my choice. It's ridiculous. Okay, so first of all, that's out of the way. But second of all, the fact that, you know, Steam is allowing people to keep their pre-orders, that's cool, man. They didn't have to do that. They could have just refunded them. And then after that, the business decision, it's a business decision. I mean, right. If anybody's working or knows the way finances work, I mean, it's a numbers game. It's you got to make the right decision for your company. You got to make the right decision for your workers. People got to get paid. The lights got to get, the light bill got to be paid, everything, all this other stuff. And unfortunately, Metro, I think, is just it's one of those games that's coming out in a time where there's a lot of other games out there. I think it's not going to do that well, honestly. So I think they needed to make a business decision that was best for them. Epic was offering a lower fee there, and like you said, a lower percentage, and they probably have some things behind the scenes that would sweeten the pot as well. So they decided to take the deal. I mean, you could still play it on PC. This fake outrage shit is just annoying to hear. I mean, if you really want to play Metro Exodus, right? You're a big fan. It doesn't matter if it's going to be on the Epic Store or Steam. I understand that there's some type of gamer score achievement system on Steam. That's fine. You just want to get it for this game and you'd play it. But people just like to bitch and moan and throw fits and review bomb and all that other stuff. And I'm just tired of it. It's not cool. So,
well, you know what? I kind of just want to touch real quick. First of all, Andrew Schilt, who has been an amazing supporter of the show, he drops a $5 super chat. He says that the devs already walked back the comment regarding skipping PC. Love the show, Boom. And first of all, yes, I understand the what you're talking about. I did read that. The poster in question has the username of Skynet, spelled SCYNET, and he made these threats. And you know what? He is an active developer within the Metro franchise. And you know what? I understand his frustration, because one of the things that goes unnoticed is you go to the store and you buy a game, whether that be the physical copy or you sit home in front of your couch, not having to leave your home thanks to the digital era. You hit the download button. It magically takes the money from your bank account, and your game is downloaded for you without having to do anything. And I think the ease of this take away, really, in my opinion, Salty, takes away from the thousands upon thousands of hours that a developer as a team works on a game. So when someone is shitting on your work, you are going to, of course, be defensive. You're going to be salty, and you're going to say things. And you know what? I applaud them, whether it would be the company or one person from the company, to have the balls to say, hey, listen, stop shitting on our work. And if this continues, we're going to consider skipping PC altogether. I mean, Salty, was that the right move, or do you think this is a PR nightmare?
It's a no-win situation for them, honestly, because if they say nothing, then it feels like, the people that are boycotting and review bombing and all this other stuff and shitting on their product are just kind of getting away with it. But at the same time, if you come out as a PR team and say, hey, you do this, this, and this, and we're going to just not bring it to PC next time, it just seems like you're just trying to enrage the masses even more. Because they're already triggered, all these people, and
yes,
on the internet they love to group up and get their torches out. So it's just like you're putting gasoline on the fire almost, So I think it was a bad timing thing for them to say this, and obviously they retracted their statement. So they must have got like extreme blowback from that. So it is what it is, man. I think sometimes it's a no-win situation when you're dealing with these type of people on the internet. It doesn't matter what you do. They're going to be enraged and, fake outrage. It is what it is. Yeah.
I love that. I always quote Salty, and that was something big, that hashtag fake outrage. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic, Salty. The PlayStation 5 backwards compatibility could already be in the works. And the lead architect of the PS4, according to an article that I pulled from GamesRadar.com, more possible news has surfaced about the super secret development of the PlayStation 5, Sony's next-gen follow-up to the console that hugely was a success in this generation. There's just no doubting that. And this was first spotted by, and I'm going to see if I hope I don't butcher his name, Kanko Alt. Sony received recently registered a patent with the Japan Patent Office to protect a new method that lets its device determine whether an application is a legacy application or not. Now, in technical jargon, legacy applications usually refer to those programs that were previously designed for older hardware, and this patent describes a CPU identification algorithm that essentially allows legacy software to run on the newer PlayStation devices, i.e., the PlayStation 5. Now, it should be stressed that this patent trademark does not outright confirm anything, but it certainly has PS5 written all over it, especially when the industry whispers suggest that both Sony and Microsoft are gearing up to reveal the 9th generation console within the next year or so. But you see, Salty, I have to ask this question to you, and I really want your take on it. The PlayStation 5 having any sorts of backwards compatibility is going to be fantastic for its millions and millions of fans. But I have to say this. In the past, Sony themselves, along with many, many people in the Twitterverse, has stated, and I quote, "Who wants to play old games anyway?" when concerning the very successful backwards compatibility program on the Xbox platform. I call hashtag double standards, but what is your take on the topic?
Oh man, it's funny to hear these executives, right? They say a lot of stuff, and depending on the situation, that stuff likes to be very fluid. It likes to change, right? They hope they think that everybody has some kind of short-term memory loss or something like that, long-term memory loss, because these business dudes, they say a lot of stuff, and then for the most part, a lot of them change their tune depending on the market and the way numbers are trending. So yeah, at that time, it suited Sony to say, hey, who plays old games, or whoever, wanted to make that statement, because they didn't have it at that time. It's like that wasn't available for them to sell. So what do? They turn it into a negative spin, and they say, who wants to play old games? We don't have it, but it doesn't matter, because who wants to play old games, right? So on a business perspective, they're just trying to make their company look as good as possible, right? We don't have that product. We don't have that feature. So that feature sucks. Fast forward a couple of years or going into the next generation, they see the trends, they see the numbers, they see how much money Microsoft is making with this backwards compatibility situation. And the fact that people do like to play old games, because if that wasn't the case, then all the people on PC wouldn't have their old games. They just immediately uninstall them. But no, that's not the way it works in this world. People like to take their catalog of games with them, and it's actually a pro-consumer feature to have your titles go forward with you, especially in this digital age. So what does Sony do? They love to copy other people. This is going to trigger some people, but I don't care. It is what it is. Sony likes to copy trends. It's few and far between that they actually come up with their own ideas. So Microsoft, they come out with the backwards compatibility thing. It's been under development for a long time. And now what do we see in next gen? Sony's coming out with backwards compatibility. We saw the same thing with Xbox Game Pass and the ability to download games. What does Sony do? They changed PS Now, and you're able to download games. Do you see the trend here? Sony likes to be a follower and a copier, and not a progressive, let's create things. That's just the way I believe. You can disagree or whatever, but it is what it is. It's a business thing. If you don't have the product, or you don't have the options, you spin it in whatever way you want, if that makes sense. So that's what's going on here.
Yes, well, I mean, dude, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I mean, really, it's simple logic. They have been known to copy, and that's fine. I mean, again, this is a business. Everyone's trying to make money. Microsoft did it first, and that's great. I hope that there is backwards compatibility for the PlayStation 5 owners, which, of course, I will be one of those owners, day one, no questions asked. So let's move on to the next topic. But before we do, Salty, I have to say a huge shout-out to Tempest for the $5 super chat. And he says, hey, Boom, my brother, glad I can catch the show live. And shout-out to Salty and his Apex coverage. Apex Legends, the GOAT, baby. Everyone should download it now. And you know what? Because I told him, I spoke to him last night. He's a real good dude. We talk on DM all the time. Him and his wife, Shout out to her. Won a couple of matches, so that's freaking pretty awesome. Salty, let's talk about this free shooter that seems to have taken the world by storm. In the last couple of days, yes, I understand it's new. So you're not going to hear Fortnite. You're not going to hear PUBG. You're not even going to hear about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. But it seems as if the Titanfall creators really hit on something special. Now, I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna say this right out of the gate. I do not play battle royale games. It's just not my bag. I don't like PUBG. I don't like Fortnite, and I never bought Call of Duty because it didn't have a single player. So guess what? They're not getting my cash, and that's fine. But dude, first of all, your video that you did on your channel was absolutely fantastic from start to finish. I highly recommend everyone checking it out. It's so good I watched it twice. Okay, I'm playing Apex Legends right now. I think I just hit level 6. I did in fact win once, which was awesome. Awesome. Very stressful when you get to that last 3 or 4 teams. You know what I'm saying? Especially when that circle was closing in on you. But I want to get your perspective because we'll come back to me. But what are your takes on being a battle royale fan?
I have a lot to say about this, honestly, and thanks for that shout out, man. I can't believe. First of all, let's talk about how Respawn and EA hid this game from the masses in a day and age where things leak all the time. Everything, Walmart Canada, Jason Schreier, all these people love to leak stuff early. This was completely under wraps, man. This is like Avengers Endgame shit. I mean, this is crazy. Like no one knew about this until a couple days before it launched, and then details came out. But the fact that Respawn was able to create this game under wraps, beta test it secretly, because they had to do something. They had to find people to test this out because the way it runs, it's smooth, man.
Yeah,
crystal graphic. It's the best looking battle royale out there, bar none. It looks better than Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Blackout. Obviously, it looks better than PUBG. That's not hard to do. Fortnite, Fortnite's kind of cartoony. It is what it is. But the fact that they got this under wraps, launched it, didn't really have any issues with the servers. They ran great. The popularity of this game exploded in 24 hours. I think it was like 2.5 million unique users, and yet this game held fast. It was true. It was crazy, man. So props to them, props to Respawn. The negativity at the beginning was super high. Again, fake outrage, dude. The Angry Joes of the world were blasting the game immediately. The layman gamings, everybody was saying, oh my God, I mean, Titanfall 3 is canceled and this game is took its place and blah, blah, blah. And this has no Titans. And then they start playing the game and then they backtrack, right? The tweets come out, oh my God, this game's actually really good. You should try it. And then the word gets out, and that's just the way it is, man. It's a good game. It's free to play. The microtransactions in this game aren't intrusive. You earn loot boxes every time you level up. Yep. I've gotten tons of legendary gear already.
Me too.
The characters, there's 8 heroes or characters, so it's kind of like Overwatch where these characters have unique abilities. They have a super, like one has like a zip line he can shoot out. He's like a machine. There's a big tank dude that could put he can call on like an airstrike. That's what separates it from these other battle royales, because it's kind of like a mix between Overwatch and Call of Duty Black Ops, Blackout, and some other, but it's 3-player squads. That's unique. You can jump with your team, push the button, you guys all jump out together. Man, the gunplay feels like Titanfall. These developers branched off from Call of Duty. They know the good gunplay, so there's tons of things that separate this game from the other battle royales out there, so it's really good. I suggest it. And obviously what speaks volumes is a dude like BoomStick here.
Yes,
he doesn't like battle royales. He jumps in there, he has fun, he wins a game. I mean, it's good, so
Yeah, I mean, look, let me just say this. And again, I love Salty's perspective on this because he's a seasoned veteran, whereas I'm a rookie in the BR realm. And I'm okay with that because, like I said, it's just not my kind of a game. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I like it. First of all, it's in the Titanfall universe. Obviously, if people follow me for a while, they'll know that the Destiny, Titanfall, and Division franchises are probably my three top franchises from this generation personally. In between the three of those games, I think it's not gross to say that I've sunk anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 hours between those multiple titles and those franchises. And I am going to continue playing like Division 2, the betas this week. I'm excited for that. Of course, when I first heard about this, I was a bit let down because I want Titanfall 3. And then I started sitting on it. And I did some some thinking about the subject. And I said, if this turns out to be good, if it turns out to gain a following, if they start to make money, it seems logical, Salty, being a numbers guy, that they would then use the money to fund a Titanfall 3. And that makes sense to me. So then I said, you know what? Let me stop. Let me try it first. Okay, because I don't do the fake outrage shit. I don't do that. I think I have to play the game. If I don't like it after playing it, well, I just don't like it. And I played the first couple of matches, and of course, I got smoked, right? Because I haven't played Titanfall in a while. I haven't played a first-person competitive game in a while. And then I started running around, finding the blue armor, then the purple armor. Then I started finding purple guns, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get a hang of this. I got hooked up with a couple of randoms, and don't you know? Not only did they revive me once, but we won. And I was like, I can see me coming back to this. Maybe not every day, but it's so quick. You do a match, even when you win, you're playing 20 something minutes, right? Like it's not like you're playing for 3 hours and you have to start all over, so it's something that I'm going to go back to. I'm going to say this. If you listen to Salty, he's a veteran and he's telling you to download it. And that's great. All right. That's from a veteran. So if you enjoy these types of games, if you play these games, then it might be for you. But I think it screams even louder that a guy like me who never plays battle royale games really sunk his teeth into this and can't get enough. I mean, every few minutes I have, I'm running in to take 1 or 2 matches. Even if I come in 20th, I don't care. I'm still having hashtag fun. But good stuff on that one, Salty. Anything you want to add before we move on, dude?
I think that the game that will suffer the most from this game's launch is going to be Blackout.
Yes, I agree. Yes,
they're very similar. Obviously, some of the developers went away from Call of Duty back in the day, and they formed Respawn and did the whole Titanfall thing. The mechanics are similar, but really they're better. The game looks better, plays better. I think that Blackout's just gonna the player pop is gonna just fade. So
okay. Well, I mean, listen. I mean, who knows? Real quick before we move on to the next topic, Andrew Schilt with an additional $5 super chat. Dude, that is extremely kind of you. He says 300 plus games in my backlog. Apex doesn't do enough for me to jump in onto the top. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, dude. I mean, when you have a backlog that's in the hundreds, a free to play game isn't going to jump to the top of your list, and I completely understand that. But let's move on to the next topic. Mortal Kombat 11's gear will only be cosmetic, and I personally think that this is a good thing. And in an interview with Xbox Wire, NetherRealm's Trevor Traub explained that the gear itself isn't going to be a repeat of Injustice 2's system. And yeah, I have to agree. When I heard this, I played a lot of Injustice 2. I did not play online a lot. But when I did, there were people with just monster loadouts that would just be devastating. I think that as a fan of Mortal Kombat, Salty, seeing the different gear sets, if you will, that are only cosmetic will entice me personally to try and play online. I mean, obviously, big shout out to UK Dazzers in the chat a couple of months ago. He streamed me joining the FYU or FY. Yeah, I think it's YU Fight Club, which he just completely wiped the floor with me. So I don't know how much online I'm going to play, but you know what? I want to just give a quote from what Schraub had to say in this interview. He says one of the major differences from Mortal Kombat 11 is that the gear itself has no stats; it's cosmetic only. And while there will always be customizable characters with augments, the gear itself does not do that. You can make yourself look however you want, and it won't affect your stats. So you aren't stuck with the costume you dislike for, like for a while. Like you can get a costume like I hate this costume, but it's so good I can't change it. And I think that's a big deal. And he also continues salty with you can deeply customize each character. Like Scarlet has a bunch of different arguments. You can make her even more bloody than normal, and it will not affect your personal stats. Like for you as a Mortal Kombat fan, I think that the personal customization aspect of the game is very interesting because it's the in-game loot boxes that you can keep unlocking these things that doesn't cost real world cash, which I am happy to report. At least from what I read, I haven't heard anything about real monies being spent. And I'm such a big fan of the series itself. I'm glad that they're going to give people the opportunity to dress up whatever you want, but it's not going to make you a better fighter because you spent money or you spent 80 hours in the game compared to me spending only 10. What are your takes on this, Salty?
I love it. Yeah, Injustice 2. I remember those the gear that would drop and stuff like that.
Ridiculous.
And the grind was real to try to level up, man.
It was.
I remember it's like I would get these yellow drops, and it's like you have to be level 20 with this character to use it. I'm like, screw that. I'm not gonna, I wanted to play Batman and use this cool gear.
Yes.
But I mean, I don't play it that much. I'm a casual fighting fan, and if I got to grind that much to get that gear, that sucks, man. I mean, and then you play other people that have unlimited time to play this game, or it's their main game, and you play against them online and get wrecked. It's not good. People want balance in fighting games. That's what happens when you go to these esports events. It's on a even playing field. They don't have different gear sets and gear levels. So get that out of here. I mean, the addictive part to games for me is getting different gear, the way it looks, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, like get a cool helmet, or any of these games. That's what's enticing to me. They call it Fashion Souls and the Dark Souls Dark Souls realm. You like to dress your character up and strut it out. It's just a way to show people Destiny. Any of these games, people like to show off their gear that they get. It's kind of a fun thing to do, and it makes sense in these fighting games because once you play these games, you need to have something to work towards. Let's be honest. I mean, you can play the campaign, or you can play some of these different mini games that they have, but after that's done, you need to have something to grind for, in my opinion. At least for me, I like to go after stuff. So if there's some cool cosmetics for Scorpion or some other characters out there, I'll play the shit out of it to try to make my character look dope, So I think this is a great idea, a great decision by NetherRealm. I think it's a step in the right direction. So
yeah, no, absolutely, Salty. You know what? Having something to chase after is a good motivator. I mean, I think that's like in sports, it's in life, it's in anything, right? Like if you want, a better paying job, you're going to chase it. Well, trying to make, listen, I've been playing Mortal Kombat since it was in the arcades, since the original one. And, if there's say, for instance, a Sub-Zero original suit, an outfit from way back in the days, and all I have to do is just play the game and grind to get it. I will do that to get it because I really liked his original costume. Now I may not use it all the time, but you see, it's that hook. It's that hook that they get me to keep playing the game because I want to get that costume, and all I have to do is play. I think that's very important. I got to give a big shout out to UK Dazarus in the chat, not only being the sheriff who takes care of the the business when people act like a-holes, which for the most part we don't get in our chats, Salty, and that's awesome. But I want to give him another shout out that if you head over to his Twitter account and click the link that he just put in, he's having a Mortal Kombat 11 giveaway. Everyone should get involved. If you're not following this dude, first of all, real quick, he is one of the community's absolute finest. There's no doubt about it. He supports everyone, Everyone trusts him to be a moderator in the chat. He does not get paid for that. That's because he loves this community and the show. So get that again. I cannot thank him enough for that. But he's also just a really fun dude, and I think his YouTube channel may be a little unorthodox for some. But if you like, you like Mortal Kombat, you like fighters, check out his site. If you like racers, check out his YouTube channel. If you like classic gaming, the 8-bit stuff, he does have Retro Renegades that he's constantly on. Check that out as well. But you know what? Let's move on to another bit of a salty topic, and I think you're going to sink your teeth into this one as well. Fallout 76 makes the news once again, and the latest patch is not only a bit of a mess, salty, it unfortunately unfixes patch 4 and causes more difficulties for this game. Look, let me just say this right out of the gate. I bought the $200 edition. I think everyone knows that already. I said it publicly, privately, and I'll say it again live on the air. I did not buy Fallout 76 Collector's Edition for the game. I bought it for the helmet. I'm a huge fan of the series. Of course, if the game would have been great, like 3 was, and 4 was pretty good, it would have been a bonus for me. I have every collector's edition from the Fallout franchise in storage, some on display, some put away, and I love it. But salty, my God, what is going on with Bethesda? I mean, a recent patch for Fallout 76 reintroduced problems that have already been fixed in a previous patch. But the ironic twist on this is Bethesda's hotfix to take care of an issue again introduced a bug that's even worse. The problem appears to be ongoing, and it's so difficult to tell if it's been fixed that the fix of the fix may have hurt the game. What the hell is going on at Bethesda, salty?
Man, this is one of the saddest stories of like last year, I guess, and this year. It's just this game shouldn't have come out, man. This should have been under like early access potentially. I don't know what they should have done. Maybe just not even come out with the game, because obviously it just wasn't ready, man. It was built on a flawed, engine. I know the engine's used for Fallout and blah, blah, blah. Everybody loves to tell me that it's been tweaked and this and that. Oh, I mean, Fallout's been coming out on, Elder Scrolls is on this. It's just like, come on, guys. I mean, there's something wrong with this when a huge company, Bethesda, and all their workers can't get this right, man. How long has it been? Months and months and months. You guys have tons of resources that other, game developers don't have. You have all the money, all the resources, but yet this game still can't get it right, man. You just keep getting it wrong. It's like once you make you're trying to make a recipe and you pour too much salt in it,
Yes.
Like you're making
pun
some kind
totally
of
intended, salty.
yeah, no pun intended. It's just you can't really fix that. You could try to add more sugar, or it just sometimes you just got to scrap it and start over. I'm not at this point. I don't know what they do, because it's just this game's just not going to get any better. It's completely irrelevant. I don't see anybody playing it. I don't see anybody talking about playing it. It's just a barren wasteland. I saw some videos on it, and some dude loaded in, and he barely could find one person on the whole server. And for a game that's built on player interaction, which is flawed at the core there, but we won't get into that anymore. And there's no NPCs or anything. It's just a wasteland. It's the definition. I mean, if you want to go in and feel alone in a wasteland that's buggy as hell, go play Fallout 76, because there ain't nobody in there. So I think at this point, to kind of salvage things, they make a deal with Xbox and put it in Game Pass, try to up the player base numbers for console. And then also they make it free to play. I think that's the only way you can salvage the way that this game is trending. That's just my opinion there. I don't think there's any saving face when it comes to, getting money out of this game or returning players to it, other than making it free to play and putting it in Game Pass. What do you think, Boom?
Well, I have a question for you. I kind of want to first of all, I agree 1000%. This game, look, let me just say this. The Xbox One X is currently on sale, and it's $399, which is a fantastic price. But, in some of the bundles, they're giving away Fallout 76. Yeah, I mean, then now they're giving it away, Salty. It's not even like a regular bundle. It's like, yeah, buy a console, get this game. It should go into Game Pass. It should have been in game preview. But here's a more stout question for you, if you don't mind. At this point, Bethesda, who used to be able to, I mean, they were like the Teflon Don. Nothing stuck to them. Good press was revered. Bad press kind of just rolled off like like water off a duck's back. But this game, people started to get a little annoyed. Do you think it's time that they just finally stop releasing these games until they figure out the new updated proper engine, completely scrap the original engine and say, okay, guys, we've been hard at work? Because you hear, I don't like saying this, and I'm not saying it. I don't like the lazy dev shit, because devs aren't lazy. They work 12, 14-hour days, sometimes 7 days a week. And when you get into that crunch time when a game is going to come out, they're working nonstop, almost 20 hours a day. We've heard that in the past. So I don't want to hear lazy devs. What I want to hear is complacent devs, where they have an engine, they've been using it for so long, people love them, they haven't got any booze, now they're getting booze. Do you think it's time, Salty, that they just scrap this engine that we've seen fail time and time again?
Yeah, it would, man, they should take some notes out of Microsoft's playbook, honestly, because Microsoft felt like it was time to make a new engine for Halo, their game.
Yep.
And it wasn't even in the state. You look at the Halo games, they didn't look like Fallout or any of these Bethesda games, and they weren't buggy like that, but they said, hey, we need to make a new engine for this new game and modernize it or whatever they wanted to do with it in the future. So I would kind of question Bethesda at this point if they didn't learn from their lesson. Because if they come out with Elder Scrolls, the new one, and it's on the same engine, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about that if they do that. And then the Starfield game, if they do the same thing with that, it's just you got to question their integrity at that point. It would mean that putting out these games trumps, fixing their engine and their product and making it acceptable to the masses. In the past, it was okay for them to come out with buggy games, and it was like, oh, Bethesda buggy, blah, blah. That's cute, but it's not acceptable anymore. People are tired of it, and if they come out with the same old, I think no one's going to buy their stuff. I think they've learned their lesson from Fallout 76, and if they hear the same stuff for Elder Scrolls, man, you're doing some major damage to the core foundation franchises with Bethesda. And you start doing that with multiple entities. You start off with Fallout is hurt right now. Elder Scrolls Online is doing well, but if you come out with a new Elder Scrolls and it's crap, I mean, what do you have left there? You got a lot more, but I don't want to see it, so fix your engine, make a new one, and go forward. So
yeah, even if it delays, I mean, look, you can't think for us. I mean, do you think it's possible they just haven't been working on a new engine? I'd like to think that would be outrageous. So, whatever, even if it delays Elder Scrolls a year, maybe even 2, make sure that engine is working. Get the new engine out for the new game. Start your, kind of like, I guess it would be like a company reboot. Okay, what they did in the past, everyone loved. They had a lot of success. They had that one black eye in the Fallout 76, but we're not going to talk about that because Elder Scrolls 6 is running on a new engine that's so amazing and everyone loves Bethesda again. That's what they need to do. But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic, Salty. Resident Evil 2 obviously has taken the world by storm. They shipped 3 million copies in 7 days, so it's a success for Capcom. But because Capcom is not going to sit on their laurels, they are offering free DLC that's going to be released in February this month called the Ghost Survivors DLC. And I'm going to say this. First of all, that's amazing because this is something, again, now we've seen the reboot of 2. Everyone that's played it loves it. It's a masterpiece, a modern day masterpiece. Right now, it's Boom's Game of the Year 2019, and it's probably going to stay that way because I'm such a big fan. I have personally beaten it 4 times already, both scenarios for both characters. I will probably beat it a dozen more times before the end of the year. I am just such a big fan. According to an article that I pulled from GameStop, this free Ghost Survivors DLC that was not in the original Resident Evil 2 from 98 is 3 different takes from 3 different characters on how they survived Raccoon City. And a story goes, the Ghost Survivors gives players a chance to experience the game from 3 new perspectives. According to Capcom, the mode will explore what-if stories of 3 unfortunate souls who never made it out of Raccoon City. And in No Time to Mourn, players will be cast as the gun shop owner, which are from the Kendo gun shop, which everyone knows, and that's amazing. In Runaway, they're going to play as the mayor's daughter. And the other tale is called Forgotten Soldier, where it places them in the boots of a retired soldier. Listen, Salty, there's no doubt that gamers are going to be exploring Raccoon City for the foreseeable future. But the fact that Capcom is offering free DLC that's completely different from the original game, is huge. But what are your takes on it?
I think this is outstanding because you got a lot of people that love this game saying it's, game of the year potential, but it's still a remake of an older game. So you experience a lot of the things that you experienced in the past. You're getting a newer experience. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's updated and you get the updated graphics and visuals, and there's some new stuff added in there, but it still lays on the foundation of an older game. The fact that they're going to put out their new content is outstanding because you get to experience new things in this world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to experience new content. So if you purchase this game, you love what you have seen, which a lot of people have. I mean, this is a no-brainer, right? It's like you eat some food and you love it. You're gonna want some more food from whatever place you're eating. It's a no-brainer to me, and I think it's a good way to keep people engaged in the game because a lot of people have that mantra, oh, it's a one and done.
Yes.
I play it, I get rid of it, I won't play it again. I mean, this is a way to keep people involved and engaged in the game for months, and they're looking forward to the DLC. They'll keep playing the game. I like it. I think it's outstanding. They had DLC with Resident Evil 7. I know it's not a remake, but that DLC was really good in Resident Evil 7 as well. So
it was fantastic.
Yep.
It was, and you know what? I was it free or was it paid?
Resident Evil 7, there was one that was free, and then the other 2 were paid.
Yeah, so I mean, like right out of the gate, you're getting 3 different stories. Okay, listen, let me just say this, okay? And Salty, really good on you for pointing this out. When you talk about Resident Evil 2, first of all, it's the biggest title of 2019, and that's a big deal. It seems as if the earlier months of a year that used to be complete, dead when it came to games, is now exploding. It's becoming the new November. That 3-month block, that January, February, and March. And you said it right. One and done. It's a single player game. Yeah, it has 2 different characters and 4 different types of scenarios you can play it at. But it's just, I'll play it for 20 hours and I'm going to trade it in. Well, Capcom is telling you, don't trade in this game. Here's free DLC. Here's 3 different characters that no one ever knew about in the franchise. Who knows where this is going to lead? It's going to tell other stories. I've heard from the 4chan forums that there is supposedly an Ada Wong side story coming out as DLC, which would be pretty awesome to see what happens prior to her meeting up with Leon, or when she's not with Leon, what is she doing? I'm really excited to see where this goes. Again, free is always great. And Capcom not making people run out to buy a season pass to offer you new stories on a single player game, I think that might become the standard, in my opinion, Salty.
Sorry, I was muted. It's like awkward silence. Nah, the free DLC situation, man. I'd love to see this trend continue for multiplayer games and single player games. I mean, who doesn't like free stuff, especially a cheap guy like me, a guy on a budget? Yeah, there's the saying, if it's free, I'll take three. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
I love
give
when you
me
say
all
that.
the
That's
free
great.
stuff. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, well, listen, let's move on to the next topic, and I'm going to be talking about Bioware for a second. According to a story that I pulled from comicbook.com, Bioware says they're adding a social hub to Anthem because the fans asked for it, and this is already being compared to the tower in the Destiny franchise. Anthem, Bioware's upcoming online shooter, is only about 2.5 weeks out from release, and it's already changing based on player feedback. Salty. The game's lead producer, Michael Gamble, announced on Twitter yesterday that the following feedback gathered from the alpha in the last recent weeks is going to be, they're going to be adding a social area where, you can talk with your friends. You can see the gear that they have on. Currently, I think it holds 16 different players. But you know what? I want to read a little bit of a little excerpt from the actual interview. It says, after a mission, you can head back to Taurus and catch up with some of the amazing characters we've created for you, or head back to the brand new launch bay, hang out with your friends, use the Forge, reload, and grab a new contract. And he says, yeah, we listen to you. Details coming soon. Let me ask you, Salty. Listen, obviously, Anthem came out. The original VIP demo, it had some problems, right? But once it got its sea legs, it was running fine, right? The demo comes out. Now, the demo itself was, for the most part, problem-free, but a lot of people that are going to be playing this game are going to be the Destiny crowd. Why? Well, because Destiny 2, they've hit a few bumps in the road. Obviously, we know the fallout of what happened with them leaving Activision. They're going to remain, I guess, in the shadows for a while. They're still going to continue to support Destiny, but I think a lot of that fan base is going to come over to this looter shooter. In your opinion, do you think it really speaks volumes that BioWare heard the cries of the fans and added the social hub?
I think it bodes well for this game, honestly, because I think that's the way that they're approaching this franchise, honestly, because if you have some developers out there that are kind of stubborn and set in their ways, and then they get some feedback and they're like, nah, we're just going to do it our way. You need to like it or not like it. But BioWare is obviously, this is a new IP, a new thing for them, this whole multiplayer situation, and, kind of like Destiny, looter shooter. So there's going to be bumps in the road and stuff that they didn't foresee that the community would want or that they should have implemented. But the fact that they're adding in this social space and making adjustments, and you can run, you can do this. They're listening specifically to what people are liking and disliking. It bodes very well for this game because, let's be honest. I mean, when you're developing games, you can't predict what the masses are going to want or not want. For the most part, you can for some things, but some things you're going to get the game out there and they just aren't going to like it. So if you're open to constructive criticism and you can make your game better, I think that this is going to be awesome. The one thing that I do worry about is the end game for Anthem. I was going to make a video on it, but I just haven't had the time to do it. I listened to the developers speaking. They did this interview, and they spoke about what the end game is, and it's essentially 3 strongholds, which are comparable to the strikes in Destiny.
Yes.
And with Destiny 1 launched with 5 strikes. So if you compare them, they're different. I understand that, but 5 compared to 3. And then the Vault of Glass was their raid, right? And that launched a couple weeks after the main game launched, and that was something that people could do for a long time for PvE content and just grind out the raid. But when the developers at BioWare were talking about Anthem, they said that the raid type activity is not going to be coming for like next year. And I rewound that tape a couple times, and it was clear as day that they said that it was going to be next year, and I'm like, well, next year we just had January.
Yeah,
I was like,
11
that's
months,
a long
dude.
time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know specifically the way that's going to pan out. I'm kind of concerned on it, but they're listening to the feedback of the fans, and who knows what kind of secrets they have under wraps, because they put out that little storm thing. I didn't get to see it or whatever, like that launched some, I guess, what was it, Titans into the world, and people got to experience that. So who knows what they have up their sleeves, but it's good that they're listening to fans, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. According, and actually I have to correct something. I didn't pull the story from comicbook.com. I actually pulled it from Kotaku.com. And according to them, they're saying that the launch bay as it stands right now looks pretty small and bare bones. And it is 16 players that are in there. I'm going to say this. Obviously, this game is going to change the same way Destiny did, the same way The Division did, the same way any of these games that are online based are going to change from what they originally looked like based on fan feedback. It's funny, Salty, I did not know about their so-called raid being a year out. I somehow can't believe I actually missed that, because I've been really keeping my ear to the floor with Anthem, because I'm a day one buyer. I don't think that's a biggest surprise, because obviously I love Destiny and I love The Division. So this is right in my wheelhouse. Because it has a single player campaign, because it has multiplayer, and because I said it before, I'm an 80s kid. This reminds me of Robotech, so I'm all in. But I don't know. I mean, all of the DLC is going to be free, Salty, right? The question is,
go ahead.
No, the question is, Salty, is it going to be enough until this comes out? That's the question.
Yeah, that's the real, like, who knows what they have planned. They could have strongholds that they're working on and then put those out, and that would definitely be good content. Because I said the spider that I fought in the stronghold was a very unique fight, and it was fun. I did it like 6 times, I think, and it was fun every time I did it, and I'm sure it would be fun 20 more times to do. But at a certain point, so what they have difficulty levels for their strongholds, and that's their end game. Pretty much you can up the difficulty, and there's not like activity specific gear like Destiny. It's randomized loot drops, but you can get better loot based off of the difficulty levels. So if you raise up the difficulty level, you have a better chance to get higher rarity gear, which is nice. But essentially all you're doing is you're increasing the health bars of the enemies and making more bullet sponges. So if that's not your thing, I mean, you're probably going to fall off of this game pretty quick, because it's all going to be like rinse and repeat shit. I mean, you're going to be playing the content that you have and repeating it on higher levels and trying to get better loot. And that happens in looter shooters. Let's be honest. I mean, the grind to get better gear is just at the core foundation of these games. So the only question marks that are left with this game, how good is the story and how good is the end game for me? So.
Yeah, it's very interesting I mean, look, I'm excited. I am getting the deluxe version of this game. Hold on, because the show's so on fire, that's the fire department in the background. Sorry about that. They're putting it out as we speak. But I'm hyped. I'm going to get this game day one. I'm going to be playing with a lot of people within the community. I've already said I'm going to team up with Mooch and a few others that play these online games. So I'm excited. But of course, the longevity of this title is going to be based on the content. Content is king. And if they don't have it, well, then I'm going to be disappointed. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. But you know what? We'll find out in a couple of weeks after its launch. But you know what? So let's move on to the next topic. And I think you're going to dig this one because you're a Nintendo Switch fan. A big shout out to Nintendo Direct in the chat. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend going and following him. Not only is he a panel member of the Saltiest Gaming podcast, but he has his own Nintendo-based channel on YouTube. He just broke 1,000 subs with a big congratulations to him, because that is you don't understand, as a YouTube creator, crossing that 1,000 subs is such a big deal. It's something we all strive for. So get out there. Even though he crossed the 1,000, let's get him to 2,000 and get him those subs. He has a great channel. He does daily content, and it's not always Nintendo. He does talk about Xbox. That is his favorite console as well. So get out there and support him. But you know what? Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I am actually not tired of talking about this game. You know, they have had the Piranha Plant DLC, which just came out. If you were day one buyer, you got it for free. And if you buy the season pass, you get it as well. Or you can buy it separately. I think it's like $5 or $6. But my God, Salty, it has just been confirmed that it is the fastest selling Nintendo game of all time, with 12 million copies sold in 60 days. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. I mean, listen, I'm an older dude, and I've been with Nintendo since I got the NES for my 15th birthday. Yeah, folks, I get it. I'm the old man in the room. But with that information, I can appreciate where Nintendo is now. Salty, 12 million copies sold in 60 days. Talk about it, dude.
Hey, it's crazy because look at the install base. I mean, we're at the beginning-ish of the generation for the Switch, essentially. So the install base isn't even where it's going to be, let's say, 2 or 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line. What are they at? 30 million? I don't remember. Something like that.
They're past 30 million for sure. There's no doubt about it.
So you look at it like that, right? You're talking about just the install base alone, how many people have actually bought a Switch and where it's at in its life cycle. And you're looking at these numbers and they start blowing up your mind. You're like, okay, there's only a certain amount of people that have Switches, and this is the fastest selling game ever. And in this amount of time, it's insane, man. The attach rate for games with Nintendo is bonkers. It's bananas. It doesn't happen anywhere else. This game, like I've spoke a lot about this game. It speaks to me because I'm not a fighting fan. I'm not. I like Mortal Kombat and I like Super Smash Brothers, and that's about it. Both of those games I love for different reasons, but Super Smash Brothers is just approachable by young people, by old people, by casuals, by hardcore. It's done well. It's unique. The amount of fighters that are in this game is second to none. I mean, over 70 fighters, insane, right?
Yeah.
And then just it's well done. I mean, the online kind of sucks because, you know, the servers or whatever, but it is what it is. But they're reaching these numbers for a reason. It's climbing up the charts for my favorite games on the Switch. Honestly, Super Mario Odyssey is awesome, but I think it surpassed that for me. Zelda Breath of the Wild is still #1 for me on the Switch.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, but Super Smash Brothers is right there, man. Second favorite game I've bought on the Switch, and there's a lot of good games that I still play. So just congrats to them, man. This game's just going to be continuing its success and the trajectory because these games sell. They don't lower in price. You've seen this with Nintendo. My friend was like, man, I want to get Super Mario Odyssey, but it's still $60. I'm like, you can kind of wait for a sell. It might go down $10, but it's still going to be the same price, right?
You know, I'm going to say something taboo, and this is, again, close your ears if it's going to insult you. Do you know when I buy these Nintendo games? Like, if I've missed a few, which I normally don't, I wait for GameStop to have these buy two get one free ones. Okay. Like, I went crazy over the over the holiday. You know, I didn't get Captain Toad. I didn't get the tennis, and there was one other one I didn't get. And I wound up getting one of them for free. So I got them used. I don't like buying used stuff, but that's when you get, because you're right, Salty. They don't go down in price, dude.
Yeah, it speaks volumes on how popular the games are, because if they didn't, it's like supply and demand, you know, like if you don't have the demand, you can't keep your prices up where they are, but people just keep buying them. So they keep their prices locked, you know, so.
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk numbers, because I know I can say this all the time. Salty's a big numbers guy. If you don't know that already, he loves numbers. Check these stats out. Only Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Super Mario Odyssey have sold more copies so far, with 15 million since their release, and that's a big deal. And Breath of the Wild sold 13.76 million units. I mean, look, again, when you talk about these 4 particular titles, right? Mario Kart Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and now Smash Brothers. What rings out to me? And I'm going to sound like a broken record here, folks, but I have to say it. First-party software sells consoles, and this is a perfect example. These 4 games are almost, and we're at one point, a 1-to-1. For every Switch there was one of these games. No one can say that. Not Sony, not Microsoft. There is something magical about this, about Nintendo. Listen, the Switch is the underdog here, right? They're the underpowered console. They barely creak out a vanilla PS4 and OG the Xbox One. But somehow, Salty, their software just flies off the shelf nonstop. I mean, look, what could you say? So Smash Ultimate is the ultimate sale. It's the ultimate throwback. It's the ultimate love letter. If you're an older dude like me, you appreciate old characters. You said it's 70 plus characters. I mean, what else could we say?
I mean, we'll see. What I think they're going to dominate 19. I've given this prediction. I think they're going to be the MPD leaders for the most part of the year. I think Xbox will be second. I think PlayStation will be third for the most part. So,
yeah, I agree. Before we get to the next topic, Salt, I got to do a quick shout out to one, of course, Andrew Schilt with the additional $5 super chat. Dude, please don't spend all your paycheck on me. That you have been extremely generous. I don't even know what to say, but thank you. That is very, very kind of you to support the show the way you have. And he was in his last donation. He said, "I'm waiting a month for Anthem just to see if EA has any shady tricks up its sleeve." That's actually not such a bad idea because it is EA. And Rick Oakland with the awesome $5 super chat, and he says, "Try the Let Go app. I got a few games that way." I never heard of it, dude. I'm going to definitely look into that. That is pretty awesome.
His picture triggers me, man. That fly. God dang.
That's great. You know what? Let's move on to the next topic. And we're going to go a little long today, Salt. I hope that's okay.
That's fine.
But you know what? There's a lot to still cover here. I want to say this. First of all, Salty, we have broken records today. We are damn near 150 people watching live. My God, when Salty and I started this, we talked about this when we were in pre-production with the show, going over things. We had no idea. If you remember, Salty, we had 43 people watching normally, and it has exploded. And you know what? We do this for you guys, but we would not be here without you guys. So from Salty and I, thank you so much for the absolutely ridiculous support. Hit that like button, please. It really does help. It tells YouTube that we have something special, and our channels get into their special algorithms where more people can view our content. So it does help. Thank you so much. But let's move on. This is a funny one. In an interview, Mike Mickelson, who obviously is going to be in Death Stranding, is as confused about the game as we all are. Death Stranding, if you don't already know, is the next new IP from Hideo Kojima, I'm sorry, and his very own Kojima Productions, which, listen, I'm a Metal Gear fan. I'm still waiting for the remake of the original. If they can do it like Resident Evil 2, charge me $1,000. I'll take it. That's one of my top games of all time. I love his stuff. It's a little weird. It's true, but I still like his work. But there's been a lot of controversy, Salty, surrounding the game. And, Salty and I are going to try and figure this out live on the air. And, try again, what the H is going on over there? Speaking to Polygon about an array of things, Mickelson was naturally drawn into talking about Death Stranding. And while talking about meeting Kojima, he had this to say. And this is very interesting, Salty. I think you're gonna have a comment on this. This is I quote directly from Mickelson. "I had no idea what he was talking about. I was just meeting with the guy, and then I asked around me, and everyone who was younger than me, said, "Whoa, he's the godfather of all gaming," and he turned out to be a genius. I mean, whatever he's doing, I've never seen anything like it. That's that's concerning. Specifically for this, what we're doing now, I've never seen anything like it. He still tries to pitch to me what it is, and I'm still standing there looking like an idiot, going, "What? Say it again." It's so elaborate, his world. It makes sense when it's done, but it's difficult to grasp when he talks about it. Now, look, I besides what Mickelson is saying, okay, I want to talk about Norman Reedus and to show that how his own actors in this game don't know. This was an interview that Reedus did right before the end of the year, where he said that he thought that not only was Death Stranding coming out in 2019, but that it was going to be episodic. And this is his quote, Salty. He says in the interview that it's not the kind of game where you kill everybody in the room. It's a game of bringing people together. How you play it is you're building bridges from here to there, and other people are doing the same. And you connect, and the character that I play is, I mean, this is confusing already. He's got a phobia about being touched. And as you play the game, the phobia leaves you. It's complicated, but once you're in it, it doesn't seem complicated. Salty, please help me here. I feel like I'm drowning. This is taken verbatim from the article. I'm not making mistakes as I'm reading this. This is what he said. Could you throw me a lifeline here, Salty, please?
Bro, you should see my face right now. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, man? I mean, the actors in your video game don't know what's going on. They can't tell you what's going on. It's just like, holy crap. I said this once before. I said, man, is this game, the special edition, need to come with, special, miracle drugs to get you to understand, what's going on? Because no one understands what's going on, man. I've said my piece about Kojima. I think he's highly overrated, man. If this guy's on some next level stuff when it comes to his thought processes, that's fine. But you don't, man, if you need a special interpreter or someone to interpret the story for you for the most part of the game, I think that's going to be very difficult for the most part for a lot of people. And especially the way he's describing this isn't like you go in and shoot a lot of things, you're building bridges. It's like, what is this? I mean, Friendship Maker 2000 in a weird world. He's afraid of being touched. I'm like, what is this? Doesn't sound fun to me, honestly, but hey, to each their own, and like crazy. I just don't understand this game, and I don't know. I'm dumbfounded, honestly. I'm dumbfounded like the actors in this game and everybody else. So if you guys understand what's going on in Death Stranding, please explain it,
Well, I'm going to say this, big shout out to Dealer Gaming, friend of the show. He did a video it's called the FedEx Simulator, where they show him carrying all this luggage all over the place. It's literally, you should check it out. Go to his channel. He doesn't need my help. He's near 60,000 subs, so he doesn't need Little Boomstick's 2,100 subs to help him. But it was hilarious if you want to laugh. But you know what? This is where it kind of takes even more of a bit of a turn. Now, if you remember, there were plenty of people within the community like Death Stranding 2019, suck it, Xbox. Well, according from an official tweet from Kojima's official Twitter account, he was promoting Mad Mickelson's new movie. And of course, he was then asked about Death Stranding. And this was his quote. And this should basically put the cherry on top. Death Stranding isn't releasing anytime soon, as it's going to take a while. I hope everyone enjoys the film, end quote. Well, you know what? There's that. Again, nothing that we didn't expect, but, Salty, at this point, the longer this game takes, I don't know if you're going to need a degree in psychology, but in order to understand it when it finally releases. I mean, look. I'm usually very excited about Sony first party games. This one, I'm going to be honest. I'm a Kojima fan. I have no interest in it whatsoever. It just does not. It just looks so strange that it's just off. I completely fell off the radar for me. But you know what? If nothing else, real quick, I have to say, Andrew Schild again with the $5 super chat, dude. You're unbelievable. Thank you so much. That is outrageously kind of you. He says MGS1 as one of your top games of all time. Boom. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and indeed it is, sir. Yes, it is probably in my top 5 games of all time. But let's move on to the next topic. Borderlands Game of the Year edition likely coming soon. But the real question, Salty, is can Gearbox Studio count to 3? Last year, a rumor started circulating that the first Borderlands was getting a re-release on the Xbox One and PS4 as a Game of the Year edition that included all DLC. That rumor looks to be more concrete now than ever. And this story I did pull from comicbook.com. What's frustrating, Salty, is gamers all over the world have been calling for Borderlands 3 forever. We've got, and this is what we've gotten in the last few years. We got the prequel on the 360, and then we got the HD versions of the same title that came with Borderlands 2. Then in December of last year, we got the PSVR version of Borderlands 2, which that's pretty cool. I don't own it yet, but I will eventually get it on sale, and that's pretty cool. And now we're getting a remaster of Borderlands 1. I don't know, Salty. I think Gearbox Software has gone to the well way too many times, and the fact that we do not have any information on the fact that Borderlands 3 even exists is frustrating. What are your takes on this, dude?
I don't know what they're doing, but man, it's getting to a point where if they don't get this out soon, I mean, if they don't get a trailer out soon, people just aren't going to care anymore about Borderlands 3. I mean, people have been asking about it, wanting it. And then, you hear rumors, you hear, oh, we're going to see something at E3, we get nothing. Oh, we're going to see something at the Game Awards, we get nothing. I just actually opened up a story in my phone. Oh my, 2K has a title under the works. It could be BioShock. It could be Borderlands 3. I'm like, I'm tired of hearing Borderlands 3 and getting nothing. I mean, at this point, we've been force-fed Borderlands remade, remastered, rebaked, reshipped. You know what I'm saying? We've had the other ones too many times, and people, I still was dumbfounded on people buying that on VR. But my take on VR, so
I do.
It is what it is. They'll put it on anything and everything. It's like a Skyrim situation. If the consumer base will buy it and buy it and buy it and buy it, these guys will just keep pumping it out, and it makes them kind of lazy in the fact that they're making money off old product. So they're not forced to put out a new product, and obviously they made a mistake coming out with Battleborn. That was just a nightmare,
Yes.
So I don't fault them for trying new things, but man, it just was not well done. It came out at the wrong time. I enjoyed it a little bit, the multiplayer there, but man, if they would have just focused on Borderlands 3 and continued that franchise, because it was extremely popular, it would have been out already, right? It would have been sold. It would have been breaking records there. But now the market for looter shooters is very,
yes,
it's expanded, and I don't know if Borderlands is going to keep up with the Joneses. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the market is still hot for Borderlands. You'd have to talk to everybody that is into those games, but they need to bring it, and they need to bring it soon, or people just aren't going to care. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point, Salty. If you talk about it, at this point, I'm not saying that Destiny doesn't matter, because it does. It mattered when it came out. It matters now. It matters even more, in my opinion, that they're no longer with those scumbags at Activision. So that's great on Bungie. I'm really excited to see what they do on their own. But you know what? When you talk about these grindy looter shooters, right? We're getting Anthem this year. We're getting the Division 2. I mean, almost within a month apart, which is bananas. Even if by some chance, and it's highly unlikely, that Borderlands 3 released this year, you're right. Where does it fit? In already established big franchises. Like, you got to remember, there's only so much time in a day, like for me, I'm retired. And again, I don't play games all day. I take care of the house because my wife still works, and I got to make sure that everything is done here. So when she comes home, there's nothing to do. So it's not like I'm playing games for, from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 in the afternoon. But even a guy like me who has the free time because of being a retired person, I don't find the time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to support both Anthem and The Division at the same time. How the hell would if you throw Borderlands in there, how am I going to support that as well? I don't know. I would hate to think that it's a little too late. I really think that Randy Pitchford really needs to do something, come out publicly and just acknowledge, hey, folks, we hear you. I don't have a release date for you, but Borderlands 3, we're working on it. Get ready for something amazing. Give fucking people something, man. And I don't normally curse, but I'm a frustrated Borderlands fan, and I just want to see this game come out. But I'm like you, Salty. I don't know. It might be a little too late.
Yep. And they better, I mean, with all this time they've had for development, if they don't bring out innovations with that game, new characters, new abilities, new something, changes to the overall model, it's not gonna do well.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I don't know. But you know what? Speaking of titles coming back in a big way, Lego Marvel, Lego obviously is a big franchise, and it has been on all the consoles. And they're releasing an MCU collection that's coming out. And I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't be happier. There is no bigger MCU fan than me. I love the movies. Obviously, I love comics. I'm a big comic book nerd. I've been collecting. I haven't been collecting recently. I just don't have the room. But I obviously buy everything digitally now, and I read books that way. But they announced that both consoles are getting a collection that's going to include Lego Marvel Superheroes from 2013. It's gonna Lego Marvel Avengers from 2016 and Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 from 2017, all on one disc, which I think is amazing. And what's even more crazy is that every piece of DLC, paid and free, are going to be in here, and that's hundreds upon hundreds of Marvel characters. Now, Salty, I know you have a child on the way, but you already your daughter likes. Would she be interested in this? More importantly, would you? This isn't like a family type of game. Which you like to do? Would you play this with her?
Yeah, there's a thing with the Lego games. I've tried to get her to play Lego games, and that was a while ago, but she was not really that interested in it for whatever reason. And then I myself am not too interested in Lego games, but I'm a big fan of the MCU. So that being said, I might have to take a look at it. I definitely have to try to go back to that well and see if she likes the game, because at certain points in her gaming life, she didn't like certain games, and then we go back to them and she loves them. Okay. So who knows, man? She could, hop on board and play it, and we shall see. But I love the MCU, man. I love comic books and Star Wars. I'm just a nerd, man. Everything, all that. So I think this is going to be awesome for definitely the Lego fans out there, and then MCU fans.
Yeah, well, you know what? In a story, not surprisingly enough, that I pulled from comicbook.com, and if you're wondering, again, I'm not getting paid for them to say this, but I think they're one of the better sites out there when it comes to comic book, but more importantly, gaming news. Hit them up at comicbook.com. I'm a big fan. I have been for a while. I do get a lot of my gaming news from there because I don't go to the IGNs very often. I don't go to the Polygons as much. I don't go to the Kotakus as much because they're very negative sites, and I don't want to give them any clicks. Occasionally, I'll pull a story from them because you got to get your news from somewhere to talk about on these shows. But as it stands, I did not get a price on this game. If I was a betting kind of a dude, I would say it's probably going to be a regular $59.99 price tag. But at that point, with so much DLC and 3 full games involved, I think it will be absolutely worth it. But you know what? We hit a dozen topics today, Salty. It's been one hell of a show. Again, breaking records with nearly 150 people watching. I cannot thank you guys enough. Please, on your way out, obviously, check out UK Dazarus, check out Nintendo Direct. Check out the Saltiest Gaming podcast, which happens on Thursdays. Check out his channel. But Salty, obviously, this is something we discussed doing a long time ago. It is really now starting to expand. It's something I'm so glad that we decided to do. Gaming News at Noon with Salty and Boom is apparently a hit. It's another show that I really, truly enjoy looking forward to. But I could not do this without you, dude. And I love having your salty opinion on things. I think that because, I'm more of the unicorns and rainbows guy and you're more of the salty guy, we kind of just make a perfect, match.
Yep.
But tell everyone where they can find you and more importantly, sub your channel, dude.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat. It's kind of a yin and a yang thing, It's a good show because we kind of bounce off each other. You can sub to my channel, put the link there. I have lots of content out that I put out this week. Some Apex Legends stuff. We had the Inside Xbox reaction show that got demonetized because someone claimed it. I think it was, I don't know, Capcom or someone else.
Christmas.
If they, I don't know what they do. I don't know if there's program. I think there's computer programs online.
Their algorithms, dude. You have to put in a challenge for that. They've done that to me and they've reversed it.
Because it was immediate, boom, and then what that does is it's slow. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, so it got demonetized, but we had a very good conversation at the end of the Inside Xbox. It actually went into like a 30-minute like mini podcast, and we talked about the whole Xbox Live on the Nintendo Switch thing. So I'm like, I'm going to cut this and put it in as a video. So that's the latest video today. Check that out. Twitter, almost 3,000 subscribers,
nice.
3,000 followers. See? You get those mixed up. It is what it is. Once we hit that, we're going to do a giveaway for sure. If you guys didn't know, we're going to give away 2 copies of Mortal Kombat 11, thanks to the awesome Yobi Dren. So I'm going to be getting details out on that. But we got a giveaway going on right now for Anthem, the game for either Xbox or PlayStation. I'll put the link in the chat if you're still there. If you're interested, you can win a free copy of that game. You just got to subscribe and you could win. So that's about it, man. It's great. We hit, record numbers. Let's keep up the momentum. That's all I got to say. Right.
Yeah. Well, listen, before we get out of here, Salty, 2 big shout outs I have to do. First of all, I have to say a big shout out and a tremendous thank you to the graphic god. If you don't know, and if you've seen my new gamer pick, he did that through a still shot from one of my YouTube videos, which is just bananas. He does have his own site, xboxgamerpicks.com. He does all of my work. All of my channel's work. I would highly recommend his work. What I really enjoy about Jay is the fact that he is a personable human being. He has budgets for everybody, regardless of how much money you have or you don't have. He works with you. I think what's another little secret to his sauce, if you will, is that if you're, sometimes you can't describe what you want through a text. And he takes it like on a personal level where he'll send you a Google Hangouts link where you guys will talk in person like you would be on the phone to get exactly what you're doing. And he sends draft after draft after draft. Please get out there and support this dude. He obviously left MNC Mornings for some personal reasons, and this is now his business. And he deserves the community support. Besides being an incredible artist, more importantly, he's an incredible human being. And the second shout out I have to give, and I saw him in the chat, a big shout out to Noof Nukem. Obviously, everyone knows Noof. He's on the Saltiest podcast. Yep. He was on the Game Dosage podcast, which is coming back. I believe it's next Monday. But he decided to do something that fits his wheelhouse. It's cool. It's a podcast with Primal Eve. It's Noof After Dark. It is a more adult podcast, if you will, but some people are looking for that. Episode 1 just happened the other day. It was a very, very good show. Head over to his YouTube channel. Not only give him a sub, but check out his newest podcast. He's, again, he's a very, very popular community member. He does support as many people as he can get his hands on, which is fantastic. So please, let's show him the same support. And once again, I want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for supporting this new venture. Gaming News at Noon with Salty and Boom is going to be back next week on Salty's channel. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you again for all the amazing super chat. It's just really, really humbling that people care enough to want to donate to the channel. And we will see you next week on Salty's channel on the latest episode of Gaming News at Noon with Salty and Boom. Have a fantastic week, everyone. Take care.